All right, so moving on to some stats bridging the gap support, I'll quickly go through an example of each of the segments that you have in your bridging the gap booklet, just to remind you really of some of the things you should have learned from GCSE and to make sure you're absolutely ready to start A-level maths, particularly the statistics portion of that. Okay, so the first section asks you to find the mean and the median of the data set below. For us to find the mean, we're going to need to sum up all of the pieces of data that we currently have and divide by how many there are. So the general formula for that, if you recall, is to find the sum of all of the individual data items and divide by how many there are. Okay, so we're going to sum up all of the values that we have there and we're going to divide by the count. The count is how many of them were there to begin with. Well, there were 11, so this sum in the numerator, all divided by 11, and that's going to give us the mean. While we're here, I'm going to introduce you to a new symbol, Xbar. Xbar is how we're going to represent and reference the mean for A-level maths. All right, so Xbar is going to equal, quick calculator job, and we get 605 divided by 11, which simplifies down to 55. Nice whole number. Okay, and that would be the mean. The median. Remember, to find the median, we're going to need to have these values in order. So all of these 11 values, I need to write them in numerical order, ascending or descending. So let's get into it. Okay, so probably the easiest way to arrange these numbers is just to, there's not too many of them. Let me look through and see what's the smallest tens column number that I have. So I have a few of them that are in the 40s. All right, with those few numbers, it's a lot less to work with in my head. I know I can put them in order. Okay, I've dealt with all of those numbers. What's next? Anything in the 50s? I've got a few of them right here. Once again, those numbers quite quickly in order: 52, 52, 57, 59. Okay, and then there's only a few left, so I can see that I've got 65, 66, and 73. All right, quite trivial putting those in order, but we want to make sure we're as efficient as possible. So now I want to locate the median. Some of you may be used to crossing off the first and the last, the first and the last, the first and the last, but I want to use a more formal way of locating the median. And we're going to do that by taking the count, adding on 1, and dividing by 2. This is going to tell me the location of the median, what position in this list I should look for the median. Okay, and the position to look for the median is, in this particular case, it's going to be, the count was 11. 11 plus 1 divided by 2. It's 12 divided by 2. That's the 6th position. Whichever number is in the 6th position, that is going to be my median. Okay, so just counting through, I can see the 6th position is taken up by this number, 52. Alternate methods would have got us there as well. But I want, once again, for us to be efficient, we need to think about what happens if I had 100 numbers to work through. I wouldn't expect you to be cancelling or crossing off the first and the last, the first and the last. I expect you to be able to identify where you're looking for the median. Okay, we'll see a similar technique when we come round to quartiles. So the median in this case was 52. So what would happen if you got a decimal value for your position of the median? If I got the 4.5, or if I got 4.5 as my response to this calculation, that means I'm looking exactly in between the 4th and the 5th piece of data. So 4.5 or any other decimal means you're looking in between the integer values to the left and the right of that particular decimal value. So you may well see a few of those in the exercise you're going to do.